Yo, it's your bro Elliott Hulse here, back with another video that has both Q&A and demonstration in it. Today we got a great question from my bro ADM. He goes on to say, yo, please share your new routine of daily stretching and posture fixes. And that's perfect because today is a day that I feel a sense to back off just a little bit, and in fact, I've been needing to stretch a lot more. I've been skipping it for the past week because I've just been too busy, but that's no excuse. Today you'll get an opportunity to see me catch up on my stretching routine and also demonstrate and explain why I do what I do in order to stretch for good posture, strength, and performance. Stick around. So normally I start my stretching routine with my hips because that's where I have most of my issues. But when I'm going through a full body stretching routine, I start from the top and work my way down. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is stretch my upper traps. Because if you notice, Uncle E got some monster traps. I got some big old traps. And they may look good, but they don't always feel good. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my hand, locking it up underneath this bench, right? And then it's important to keep the chin tucked, drop the ear to the shoulder, and then just come around the top here, right about where the ear is, and put a little pressure down like this. With this and all of my stretches, I like to include a little bit of I think they call it PNF stretch breathing, right? Where I'll inhale, hold it, and then press against the pressure, and then let go. That allows you to stretch a little bit deeper, so I'm just going to do a couple of those. Neck rotator by keeping the shoulders square, turning the head to the side, and using a little bit of pressure to push away. This is a levator scapular stretch. You want to take this part of your hand and kind of cup the bottom of your skull here, right between the ear and the back. Raise this elbow out and up, lean it against the wall. Turn the chin down and away. And it's almost like if you can imagine pushing the head off of your skull, right? Pushing the skull off of the neck. It's like I'm pushing my neck, pushing my head off the neck. Now the levator scapular muscle does what it says, right? It elevates the scapula. So you've ever seen somebody who, it looks like they always got their shoulders up high, or the shoulders are hiked up, and the neck is crunched in? Oftentimes it's due to tight levator scap. Then after freeing the neck up a little bit, I'll do some neck rolls. Now working down into the shoulder, I like to stretch the pec minor first, and oftentimes the way I'll do that, I like to find an upright or the corner of a wall or something. Then I place my elbow on the side of my arm against it, right, so here, thumb turned out. And of course I'm facing the same direction, but what I want to do is I want to turn away, sink my hips, and then lean into it. That's going to give a huge stretch through the pecs. And I can use the PNF breathing with this one too. Be sure to turn away as well. An often overlooked stretch for the upper arms, the bicep stretch. And the way I like to stretch the biceps, you gotta remember also the bicep ties into the shoulder. So the bicep is kind of a shoulder muscle in a way, right? By being virtue of it being tied up here. So what I like to do to get a full stretch through the forearm and the bicep is I take my hand and turn it up like that, you see? So my fingers are pointing down, and then I just turn away. Once again, I want to press into the wall and then turn away. Now you may be asking yourself about how long do I hold these stretches? For the upper body, I hold the stretches for 30 seconds to a minute. Hips and lower body, I hold the stretch closer to 1.5 to 2 minutes. And sometimes I'll do anywhere between 1 and 4 repetitions per side for everything. Ooh. So just like with the neck, I like to mobilize the shoulders after stretching them. So I did neck rolls for the neck, and then I just do these shoulder dislocations for the shoulders. Now that I'm working my way down the spine to the thoracic, one of the ways I work the thoracic or mobilize the thoracic spine is with a foam roller. Really simple. I have to lay back on it, cradle my head, keep my knees bent, and then just relax over the foam roller. At various intervals, I like to pull the neck. Just give a little bit of a light tug on the neck. And when you do that, you'll feel a deep stretch to the top of your head, right through the middle of the back. By reaching my arms out this way with my thumbs pointing down, I also stretch the lats a little bit. I can also foam roll the lats by leaning into it and getting it up into my armpit like this. And that's really important. That feels really critical for me right now too. Once the mid-back and the lats have been mobilized, foam rolled a little bit, I like to then go back and stretch the lats. And for that, I can always go back to another upright. I can grab up high, reach the same leg back, and pull down here. So the lats are a little strange in that they're shoulder muscles, right, because they tie into the shoulder, but they're also back muscles because they tie into the spine. So I kind of leave it till after my other shoulder muscles to work it in with the mid-back. Now, if you or anybody you know suffers from upper cross syndrome, right, which is a rounding of the upper back, medial rotation of the upper arm, thumbs turned in, right, kind of like a slouched back, everything that I've showed you up until this point will be tremendous in helping you restore that postural distortion. Now we're going to continue to work our way down into the torso, hips, and of course all the way down to the legs. One of the most important things for me personally to take consideration of when I'm mobilizing and stretching is the imbalance that I have in my obliques. I have much more tension in my right oblique or my left oblique because of my torn right Achilles tendon and leaning into it for so long. So I like to get this foam roller right in between my rib cage and my hip. Right, so my hip bone's here, my rib cage is up here, and then I can literally just smash by turning in like this. Boom. So the foam roller presses into the side of my torso. Boom. And I can come all the way across down into the belly, and I can even foam roll and smash my psoas because it's deep in there. So when working deep within the torso, the Quadratus Lumborum, the psoas, I have a few gadgets that I can use. One here that you may be familiar with called the Pso-Right, and then another one here called the QL Claw, which I have not opened yet, but the creator of it sent it to me, and I figured today would be a good opportunity for me to break this out and work the Quadratus Lumborum with this new device. It will be my first time. The Pso-Right, one of the things I like to do personally is I want to line my rib cage. If you think about where your diaphragm is, right, it attaches right to the bottom of the rib cage all the way through, and you'd be surprised at the amount of tension that gets trapped in the solar plexus or the diaphragm. And so one of the things I like to do with this, even though it might not be the main function of the device, is to work my way around the rib cage. I want to line my rib cage. So I can start here. Oh boy. And I can press right into it using that breathing. Oh boy. And I can come up, start to work my way towards the sternum. Right in the middle. And right in the middle there, it's kind of a weird spot. You can use a lacrosse ball or a softball or even a mini basketball. Oh man, it hurts so good though. Just working my way all the way to the other side now. And then finally to the side here. The Pso-Right, of course, is designed to work the psoas. And these two prongs are basically right about where the psoas is. And so just for the purposes of using it the right way, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to work my psoas this way too. Oh yeah, I definitely feel it down towards the hip bones. You'd be surprised at the amount of tension that is developed within the stomach cavity, right? What would you call it? But the stomach area, inside the belly. There's even organ tension in there, if you believe it. Organ tension, visceral tension. So I'm gonna go from side to side also too. I think I get a more accurate pressure by doing one psoas at a time. All right. So this is the QL claw to work the Quadratus Lumborum, which is a muscle that's like on the side here, QL, right? It's kind of deep in here. It attaches the rib cage to the hip. It's a deep muscle. And I'm not exactly sure how to use this, but maybe we'll figure it out here today. Hey E, try this out on the QL, the psoas, and piriformis. I think you'll appreciate it. Love that you're back on YouTube. I'm a huge fan. Thanks, Ben. Okay, cool. So we have some instruction here. Perpendicular to the spine between the top of your pelvis and lowest rib. While on your back, use your fingers to feel the QL engage by hiking one hip up towards the hip ribs. The two main trigger points are the top and the bottom of the QL. See what I was talking about here? The QL is kind of like attached to the rib cage up there. Maybe not exactly, but it's up there close to it, and then it's down into the hips. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to need to watch some YouTube videos on how to do this, but I'm going to attempt it here today. It can also be used for deep gluteal release. I can use that. Hip flexor release, and even pectoral release. Let's give it a go. So now obviously I'm still working within the torso, and then I'll be working my way down into the hips and into the legs, where mobilizing the glutes, quads will be a little bit helpful. Let's see how this works though. I'm doing this right. So, motion. Assuming the trigger is on the right side, straighten the right leg. Picture. The left knee acts as a lever which controls the level of pressure on the QL. It feels good, but I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Oh yeah. Well, I think it's working. Let's see. There's two different sides. I think I go into the high part. Releasing something in there that I can feel all the way down my leg. So, doing something good. I definitely need to take some time to watch some YouTube videos on how to get the most out of it, but it's not bad. Now it says that it can be used for releasing the glutes. I'm going to take my time to figure that out later. I'm just going to use my good old foam roller as I work my way down. And you can work the glutes, especially the glute medius, crossing the leg over on the side that you're doing, and totally feel that work itself out. So after hitting the glutes with the foam roller, I'm going to make my way down the IT band and the lateral part of the calves. And to do that, I happen up on here like this, crossing the leg over, pointing the back toe, just rolling. Oh man, I haven't done this in a long time, and I can tell I need it. Now that I've done some myofascial self-release with those devices, I can go ahead and do my lateral stretches. I call these like QL stretches. My favorite one is to cross over like this, lean in here, and then drop my hip. Boom. And as if I stay upright and I push my leg that way, I get a good stretch through the QL and mainly the IT band. Huge IT band stretch here. And then I can just flip around to the other side. You can also follow that up with a side bend from the top. What I like to do is cross this leg behind me and then reach over the top. That gets a little bit closer to the hip, where the other stretch was a little bit more down into the leg. Sometimes I rotate to sort of just get it. A great follow-up stretch to that is to simply cross the leg over, boom, and then lean down. After doing that kind of a flexion, I like to do some extension. And so I'll place my hands at the top of my glutes here and just extend my hips. For stretching, getting a deeper stretch in the lateral sides of the legs, the glutes and stuff, I often get a platform or something like this that I can get my leg up on, boom, and then just work my way into it by leaning forward. For my final deep hip stretch, I like to do something that sometimes we call frog stretch. Basically because my knees are down here, I'm on my hands, and then I just work to slowly spread my thighs. While I'm down here, because the hips are a ball and socket joint, I like to sort of tuck my butt under, curve my back, and then stick it back out. Just moving around the upper body a little bit, you start to feel it in different areas. Rotating the hips. You can also just take your legs and rotate them in and out. From this position, you can also stretch the groin. Now this slant board is awesome for all the KOT exercises I do, but it's also great for stretching the back of the legs, gastrocnemius, hamstrings, low back. That's by hopping up on here and falling forward. One of my favorite ways to stretch the quads, because there are lots of ways to stretch the quads, is simply getting down on my knees like I'm about to pray. And so that means trying to rest my butt on my heels and then stretching through the front of the knees. See that there? And over time, I slowly get my butt closer and closer to my heels. I can also stretch the side of the hips and the thighs just by reaching this way. Is the gastrocnemius, well, really the soleus stretch down by the ankle, like the Achilles tendon. And the way I like to do that is to get my foot on here and then sort of push my knee forward. I feel that really deep down into the Achilles tendon, an area that I tend to get really stiff in. So just work this by bending the knee. It's really important. You can even get different areas by rotating. Okay? So it hits like the inner ankle, rotate this way, it hits the outer ankle. Now that I'm ready to work down within my feet, I like to take a lacrosse ball, step on it, and work the tendons through the bottom of my foot. Spreading my toes over it, even working in between the toes. Even you've ever had like plantar fasciitis or something, this would be very helpful to you. Oh man, a lot of tension within the feet. And then finally, I like to just get down into a deep squat with my heels up. If you notice, I'm sort of stretching my toes there. What I like to do is lean the knees forward. Now really feel it stretch through the bottom of my feet, through my big toe. As you can see there. I can keep my toes on the ground and bring my knees to the ground. That's a win. Right now I'm not there yet though. Hey bro, so thank you for your question. It gave me an opportunity to kind of lay back a little bit today and do some stretching that I meant to be doing, that I hadn't been doing. I'm just taking a little bit of day off from the stone loading and stuff. As you've noticed, I gave you a full body stretching routine. I think personally the best time to do that stretching routine are on my off days when I'm still sore from the workout the previous day, or at nighttime before I go to bed. I've also found that when I just use strategic stretching or corrective stretching before I do my workouts, those areas where I have muscular imbalances, namely in my hips, become relieved and allow me to perform my movement with better form. So I hope that helps, dude. Thank you for your question. Thank you for inquiring about your OE's stretching routine. I'll be back next week with a new workout, new Q&A. Until then, have a great day. Done.